Okay, here we go. Working on number 8. If a over b equals 2, what is the value of 4b over a? Okay, so on this new test, algebra is featured more prominently. We've got the so-called heart of algebra questions, and so far we've noticed some more complex algebra questions that are not as suitable to some of the older strategies, like plugging in numbers. This one, however, is pretty easy either way you slice it. It's pretty easy to do the algebra method. It's also pretty easy to do the plug-in method. I would say for this one, I would probably recommend the plug-in method. But, you know, use your own judgments. If you're super good at algebra, maybe you want to do it the algebraic way. One thing I would suggest is that even if you do prefer one method over the other, you might want to choose or you might want to use the second method to double check. So in other words, if you prefer to do it algebraically, that's fine, but maybe just take a quick second and plug in numbers and make sure that your answer works. And maybe even vice versa. Maybe if you plug in and you get an answer, you might, if you have time, also take a look at the algebra and make sure that checks out as well. All right. So here's the algebra method. A over b equals 2. But we want to get to 4b over a. Okay, so the first thing I would say is I'm just going to try to get my a's and b's on different sides. You know, I see this 4b here, so let's start off by getting 2b. So I multiply both sides by b, and then a equals 2b. At that point, we want to try to get b over a. So kind of the point here is we're taking baby steps towards making this appear in the form we want it to. So we divide both sides by a. A divided by a is 1, which is equal to 2b over a. Now we still want 4b over a, so we're going to have to multiply both sides by 2. So then we have 2 equals 4b over a, which is answer choice C. And then also here's the somewhat easier way of just plugging in. And when you plug in some cases, you do what I call make it true. So basically we're just making it true. We're picking two numbers where a over b equals 2. And it really doesn't matter what numbers we choose because those are the only guidelines the question is giving us. If it's all that the question tells us, it's all we need to worry about. All right, so okay, a over b equals 2. I'm going to pick a couple numbers that are not in the question just to avoid, you know, possibly messing myself up. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You could pick 4 and 2 here, but kind of a good rule of plugging in is to not pick numbers that are too familiar to the question. So I'm going to pick 6 and 3, right? So a equals 6, b equals 3. Notice how I label them. 6 over 3 equals 2. Yes, that works, right? So a over b equals 6 over 3 equals 2, and that works. So now we just want to see what 4b over a would be if we plug in 3 for b and 6 for a. So 4 times 3 is 12 over 6 equals 2, and so that also backs up our answer choice C.